I work at Seche's house as the District Girls Education Officer. I'm also an Atlas Coordinator for Efija Seche, Ashanti region, and I'm a Teachers Fund contributor. I got to know about Teachers Fund during our orientation. It was GES, Seche's that organized the orientation. But at the orientation, NAT came round and they introduced Teachers Fund to me. And since then, I became much interested in it. So later, I went to the district office and then inquired more about it. And then I started with the contribution. It was never difficult to join Teachers Fund because I know once you are a NAT member, automatically you are being hooked on Teachers Fund. And once you are a contributor, you also have the opportunity to also take loan. So it was never difficult to join. I've actually derived a lot of benefits from Teachers Fund. Right from even when I wanted to further my education, I took loan from Teachers Fund and I was able to go to the university. After that, when I came back, we decided to have a building project, and I also went to Teachers Fund to take some money for it. And last but not the least, with this very shop that we are in now, I took loan from Teachers Fund. And because I wanted to take an attractive loan, I even had to increase my contribution so that whatever amount that I request for will be given to me. Because I was told if I'm able to increase my contribution, I can even take up to 50,000. And that sounds good to me. And so I took 15,000 for the first time for the shop, to expand the shop. And I later took 10,000. And now I've increased my contribution to 200, hoping that I can even take more than what I've already taken. So actually, mutual fund is good for we teachers. And even those of us who are not NAT members, I'll even encourage you, for the sake of Teachers Fund, come and join NAT. In fact, the shop has actually benefited me financially so much. I know I'm a teacher, I receive salary, all right. But with this shop, now I'm financially sound, I must say. So it's like whatever I intend doing in life for now, because the shop is there to support me. And even when I run short at the shop, I know mutual fund is also there to beef me up. So financially, I'm okay. So whatever I want to do in life, mutual fund has actually helped me, because the shop as we run, at least we also get some profits for it. We accrue our profits and we are able to use that profit to expand our businesses. So mutual fund has helped us. Even my family too, it has helped us. I'm a teacher, and I think that I needed to do something extra. Before, I was even selling kente clothes. But later, I decided that when we even close from school, you don't have much to do. On vacations too, we actually don't have so much. We are not so much engaged. So if I open the shop, at least I'll be able to employ somebody. I'm paying someone. That is also a help that I'm giving to society. And aside that, we are able to get some money from the shop that we are running. We get extra money from the shop that we are running. So it's good. It's good that I've started this shop. I want to encourage every teacher, and most especially for us who are not members, that mutual fund is for us. This is what NAT has made available for us. And in fact, it's very attractive. What mutual fund is giving us is so much that we need not go anywhere for financial assistance. So, and even for those of us who have not started something, be it a building project or maybe running a shop or doing something extra to get extra income, it's about time we do something about our finances, because mutual fund is ready to give us any amount that we want. The only condition is for you to increase your contribution. If you are able to do that, mutual fund can even give you up to 50,000 to start something. And I think sometimes we say, oh, teachers are work. No, for now, Teachers Fund is there to support us. So whatever you want to do, whichever height you want to reach in life, with the help of mutual fund, we can get there. Because I'm an optional contributor, for now, I'm not worried going for big money from Teachers Fund. And because of that, there's no need for me to even seek for financial assistance elsewhere, because whatever I'm in need of, Teachers Fund is ready to give it to me because I've increased my contribution. To say that we are grateful to Teachers Fund for the support that they are giving to we teachers who are not members. And had it not been mutual fund, it's like some of us maybe wouldn't have gotten something extra to do. And you know, these other financial services, sometimes when you even take a loan from them, the kind of stress and the difficulty that they send us through. But with mutual fund, the money is very flexible. It's not difficult to access the loan, and whatever amount that you need to expand your business to, they are ever ready to give to us. So we are grateful to them. I want to encourage our teachers too that we should all embrace Teachers Fund for the support that they are giving to us. Thank you very much. I'm Dorcas Anane. I work at Seche's house as the District Girls Education Officer. I'm also an Atlas Coordinator for Efija Seche, Ashanti region. And I'm a Teachers Fund contributor. I got to know about Teachers Fund during our orientation. It was GES, Seche that organized the orientation. But at the orientation, NAT came round and they introduced Teachers Fund to me. And since then, I became much interested in it. So later, I went to the district office and then inquired more about it. And then I started with the contribution. It was never difficult to join Teachers Fund, because I know once you are a NAT member, automatically you are being hooked on Teachers Fund. And once you are a contributor, you also have the opportunity to also take loan. So it was never difficult to join. I've actually derived a lot of benefit from Teachers Fund. Right from even when I wanted to further my education, yeah, I took loan from Teachers Fund and I was able to go to the university. After that, when I came back, we decided to have a building project, and I also went to Teachers Fund to take some money for it. And last but not the least, with this very shop that we are in now, I took loan from Teachers Fund, and because I wanted to take an attractive loan, I even had to increase my contribution so that whatever amount that I request for will be given to me, because I was told if I'm able to increase my contribution, I can even take up to 50,000, and that sounds good to me. And so I took 15,000 for the first time for the shop, to expand the shop, and I later took 10,000, and now I think increase my contribution to 200, hoping that I can even take more than what I've already taken. So actually, mutual fund is good for we teachers. And even those of us who are not members, I'll even encourage you, for the sake of Teachers Fund, come and join us. In fact, the shop has actually benefited me financially so much. Yeah, I know I'm a teacher, I receive salary, all right. But with this shop,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Teachers Fund's webinar titled Updates for Members. Today we are delighted to have you join us for this insightful session where we will explore corporate governance at the Teachers Fund. You would have the opportunity to listen to the head of the institution talk about how the organization itself is governed and the structures that we have in place for corporate governance. We'd also throw light on new loan requirements. Recently, we've decided to introduce a few requirements to ensure that our loan products are safeguarded. We'd also throw light on increment in basic contributions, recent developments over the past 6-7 months relating to the operations of the fund. And finally, you would have the opportunity to ask questions and we'll respond to them. My name is Kweku Akwa, and I'm the moderator for today's session. We, as a fund, we have observed that the needs of our members keep changing. Day in and day out, they have different needs, they have different questions, they have different thoughts, they have different recommendations. It is important for us, we think, to share information, to respond to these concerns, and to join them to evaluate the challenges that we are going through, if there are any, and the recommendations that we may have and they may have. We believe that this dialogue and knowledge sharing session will empower our members and contributors to strengthen this community we have, this Teachers Fund community we have, this nurse community that we have. This is the very first episode of a series of webinars we want to introduce and use as a communication platform for our operations and to allow us to engage our members. We are grateful for all those who have decided to participate in this event, and we believe strongly that by the time that we finish this session, your concerns would be addressed. This is not only a webinar. For us, it is a conversation. It is an very interactive session that we want to have with our members. Therefore, we encourage you to participate actively by sharing your questions, your thoughts, and your experiences with us. And we believe that this event will be an enriching experience for everyone who participates. The platforms that we are using do not allow participants to ask questions verbally during the presentation. However, once you are participating, once you are with us, you can follow only a few simple basic steps to share your questions on Facebook and YouTube for our attention. And the speaker will respond to these questions after the presentation. On Facebook, the steps are very simple. All you need to do is to tap the comment section below the thing that we are sharing. That is our post. And then you can use a GIF, you can use a sticker, you can use a photo, or you can even tap your avatar. That is if you are registered with avatar, to share your question with us, and we will respond appropriately. On YouTube, all you have to do is to tap the chat session underneath the YouTube video that you are currently watching. Then you write your comments, and then as soon as we receive the comments, we will respond to that. On behalf of this fund, of the Teachers Fund, I extend a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today to participate in this event. And I want to introduce to you the main speaker for this event. The speaker for the event has worked with the fund since year 2002, when he joined the fund as the head of accounts. By dint of hard work, he rose to the position of general manager. He was appointed as the general manager of this noble fund in year 2013. And by dint of hard work again, he was appointed the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of the fund in year 2021. And so, he has worked with the fund for a very long time. He has the requisite information, knowledge, and experience to handle all issues, all concerns relating to the fund. May I respectfully and humbly invite Mr. Foster Boabing, the CEO of this fund, to take us through the presentation. Unfortunately for all of us, immediately after the presentation, we would have a Q&A session where we would respond to all your questions and your issues. Thank you very much, Mr. Foster Boabing.
Thank you, Mr. Akwa. And good afternoon to you all, and welcome to my presentation. For the purpose, Mr. Akwa, the reason why we are here, Mr. Akwa has already mentioned that Mr. Akwa has already mentioned that, and then in terms of the topics that we are also going to cover, he's also highlight on some. This webinar is the first of its kind, and I want to welcome all of you to it. So, on the topics we are going to cover, or the agenda, it will be about the fund, about us, about Teachers Fund. We also touch about corporate governance of the fund. We also look at membership and contributions, and then we also look at our products, the products that the fund has. And then we look at loan disbursements, the loans that we've disbursed for some couple of years, and some development and recent challenges that the fund has gone through, and then the way forward. And like he said, there'll be Q&A session whereby members will be given the opportunity to also ask questions. So, this webinar is being beamed on Facebook and then YouTube and then Teachers Fund website as well. So first of all, about the fund, we will look at the fund as when it was established. So Teachers Fund, as we all know, it was established in 1998 as a retirement supplement and solidarity scheme. And then the vision of the fund is to be the best performing private solidarity fund in Ghana by enhancing contributors' welfare and quality of life. So for Teachers Fund, the reason why we are also not charging members when it comes to some of the products that we offer, like the loans, we are not charging commercial rates, is that it's a solidarity fund, so we are not operating as a commercial entity, but operating to assist our members. And if we also look at our mission, is to enhance the welfare of our members through prudent investment, and then innovative technology, well-motivated and skilled workforce. So that's the mission of the Teachers Fund. And if you also look at the fund, we have the parent where the fund sits, and then it also has some subsidiaries. So the fund currently has 6 subsidiaries, and then 4 of these subsidiaries are fully owned by the fund, and they are the Credit More, TF Properties, TF Financial Services, and Frontline Pensions Trust Limited. And we have 2 of the subsidiaries that are partly owned. We have Unique Insurance, where Teachers Fund has about 95%, and Aviance Ghana Limited, the fund has a stake of 60%. The next topic we also want to talk about is corporate governance. Corporate governance is key to the success of every organization. So we are trying to let members know what corporate governance is about. And corporate governance is a system of rules, practices, and processes by which a company is directed and controlled. It involves balancing the interests of various stakeholders and effective management of the company to achieve its long-term success while maintaining transparency and accountability. So when it comes to corporate governance, as to who should actually put together a sound corporate governance principle, then the board comes into question. So we also know who are the key stakeholders when it comes to corporate governance, and then the role that they play. So if you look at in terms of the key stakeholders, we have our members, we have the National Council, we have our external auditors, we have the Teachers Fund Board, we have risk and compliance, internal audit, and also management and staff also play a key role when it comes to governance issues. So what role do our members play? So when it comes to our members, the role they play is members are responsible for electing our district chairman at the district level and treasurer, and these members also form part of the district finance committee. This district finance committee, they are in charge of the affairs of the fund at the various districts, and then also the members have the right to also elect another member to be a member of the DFC. And then district secretary is also a member of the district finance committee, and the members are also responsible for electing the district chairman, who also serves as a National Council member. So what role does the National Council also play? So if we look at it, the National Council acts as the national body which represents members at any particular fora of the fund. So when the fund gathers at the AGM, it's the National Council that actually represents the fund. So it's a body that constitutes as AGM of the fund and holds at least one meeting every year to review and approve the annual reports of the fund. It's also responsible for appointment of the board of trustees. Though if you look at the board of trustees, they are elected at the various regions in terms of those who represent the regions. They are elected at the various regions. But after this is done, they must also submit themselves to the fund's AGM, which is represented by the National Council members for approval. Then they are also responsible for appointment of the external auditors of the fund, and then also authorize the board of Teachers Fund to also fix the remuneration of the external auditors. So if you look at it, there's check and balances. The shareholders, which is the National Council, has actually given the stewardship responsibility to the board of trustees to manage the affairs of the fund. But when it comes to the appointment of auditors, that is done by the shareholders. So the shareholders do, the directors can recommend, but the shareholders can object. So they have that power to do so, and also authorize the board to fix the remuneration of the external auditors. So let's also look at the role of the external auditors. What role do they play? So the external auditors also provide audit assurance to the fund. They come and then look into the books of the fund, and then to ensure that the key controls and procedure that has been put in place by the board is being followed to the letter. So if there are any deviations, then they will also report on the exceptions to the board, and then the board will also give management some timeline to ensure that all exceptions are actually resolved. So KPMG reviews the operations of the fund and give an independent opinion on the financial statement of the fund. And if you look at the financial statement, what does it constitute, or the component of it? We are talking about the comprehensive income statement, and then we are also talking about the financial position, cash flows, and then the relevant notes that also form part of the financial statement. So they look at all, and then at the end of the day, they provide an opinion on the financial statement. But I must say that, or I can say for a fact that ever since that Teachers Fund came into operations and its accounts being audited, all the years, all the opinions that have been issued are unqualified opinions. So there hasn't been any situation whereby the fund financial statement had any issues. Apart from the auditors, we also have the board, where the shareholders appoint them, and then they ask them to be in the position of stewardship. So for the board, they need to also act to the best interests of all members of the fund, and then also to promote the assets of the fund and also preserve its assets, and then also promote the purpose for which the fund was established, and then also to further the business of the fund in a sustainable manner. And the board also has other responsibilities to ensure that they actually adopt and practice some corporate governance practices for the sustenance of the fund, and then also to ensure that they also try to ensure that they protect the contributors' funds, the money that all contributors actually contribute to the fund are protected, and also to promote and maintain confidence and trust, which is key, because if they are not able to do that, the members will not be happy, and the members will not also put in more in terms of contribution to the fund. So I must say that Teachers Fund is doing very well because the members have confidence in the fund. The board of trustees are trying to whatever they do portrays portray that they are protecting the contributors' funds. So among other things that the board also undertake is that they review and approve strategy decisions and major corporate initiatives, and also ensure sound investment decisions are implemented. Also, they exercise a fiduciary duty towards members. Hence, it ensures that the activities of the fund are in the best interest of the members, and also establish good corporate governance practices and procedures and policies, and also ensure compliance with relevant laws and regulations. And if you look at the membership of the board, we have 15-member board. 10 of them are represented in the various regions, and we have 3 external trustees who have expertise in their various professions, and they are also appointed to join the board. At the National Council level, 2 members also come from the National Executive, where the General Secretary is automatically a member, and then another member is elected, who also becomes the board chairman. Internal audits. Internal audits is also very key. If you also look at the board, they have some committees, and every board must have a committee that works to make the board work more meaningful and more purposeful. So for Teachers Fund, the board, they have 4 committees. We have investment committee, we also have executive committee, we have nominating committee, and we have risks Audit, Risks and Finance Committee. So under the Audit, Risks and Finance Committee, we have internal audit and then we have compliance. So these two units within the organizations report to the Audit, Risks and Finance Committee. So the internal audit function within the fund, they are independent department, and they report to, like as I mentioned earlier, to the Audit, Risks and Finance Committee. And then department review the effectiveness and the efficiency of the fund's operational activities and risk management processes and makes recommendations for improvement. So the internal appraiser, they do internal appraiser system and provide services to management and the board. So we also have a compliance, as I said, I said earlier, the compliance also report directly to the Audit, Risk and Finance Committee. And then this compliance, the role that they play is to coordinate the risk management activities of the fund in relation to the fund risk appetite, capacity, and tolerable levels. So when we talk about the risk appetite, is the risk that the fund is prepared to take. And then in terms of the capacity, looking at the resources of the fund, in terms of the financial assets that the fund possesses, in case of any risk, will the fund, when we say capacity, risk capacity, will the fund be able to be in business? And the tolerable levels, in case when any risks emerge or maybe anything happens, are we able to be within the risk tolerable level that we've set for ourselves to be able to contain the risk? So that's what the tolerable level is also talking about. They also ensure that the operations of the fund comply with the internal policies and applicable laws and regulations. So that's the role that the risk and compliance play within the corporate governance structure of the fund. So here, having talked a lot about corporate governance, the next area that we are moving to is membership and contributions. So if you look at, in terms of the membership trend between 2019 and 2023 November, how that this depict. So in 2019, in terms of the count, we are talking about the members, the members. We are looking at 216,376 members for 2019, and it went up to 2020, 228,672. Then 2021, the membership rose to 239,175. Then 2022, it went to 246,966. Then November 2023, the membership is 256,637. And like I was saying when I was laying emphasis on the corporate governance, I said confidence is key. So if you look at how the membership is growing, which means that members have confidence in the fund, and that's the reason why the membership has been growing year on year. Let's also look at, in terms of the basic contribution history, where are we coming from? As we are all aware, or if you don't know, the fund was established in May 1998, and when it was established, members or the board decided to levy members 10 Ghana pesos. So in 1990, when it started, the contribution was 10 Ghana pesos. Then in 2002, it went up to 50 Ghana pesos. Then in 2004, it moved up to 2 cedis, 50 pesos. Then in 2008, the basic contribution was 5 cedis. Then 2011, it went to 10 cedis. Then 2014, it went to 20 cedis. Then 2015, the basic contribution was moved to 30 Ghana cedis, and 2017 it was moved up to 50 Ghana cedis, and ever since it has remained at 50. It was at the last AGM, annual general meeting, that was held, that the members agreed to approve a minimum contribution of 100 Ghana cedis. So currently we have members who are doing basic, which is 50, and then we have members who are also doing optional contribution. But come January 2024, the basic will be 100 Ghana cedis. And what is also going to happen is that because previously some members were doing basic of 50 and optional, what's going to happen is that if we are a basic contributor, which is your contribution is less than 100 Ghana cedis, you will be moved to 100. And any member whose contribution was above the 50, what we are going to do is that we are going to add 50 to your basic. So for example, let's assume that I'm contributing 80 Ghana cedis, and then that's in December. Come January, what's going to happen? Come January, which means that previously I was doing basic of 50 and optional of 30. Now my basic will be 100 and my optional will be 30. So the contribution that I'm going to do from January onwards will be 130 Ghana cedis. If we also look at the contribution history in terms of graphical form, you realize that in 1998 it was at 10 Ghana per cent, and that's been moving, and when it goes to 2017, it has remained flat. But like I said, now it's 100 Ghana cedis, so it's going to grow. So there has been no change in contribution since the last 7 years. Let's also look at that the trend in annual contribution in terms of amount from 2019 and then 2023, like what we did with the membership. 2019, in terms of the amounts that were realized or collected from members, it was 193 million Ghana cedis. 2020, it went up to 210.42 million Ghana cedis. And then 2021, total amount collected was 234.93 million Ghana cedis. And then in 2022, the amount went to 262.8 million Ghana cedis. And then November 2023, amount collected is 277.76 million Ghana cedis. So this one is yearly. We are comparing the yearly contributions, and we realize that that one too has also been in ascendancy. So which means that the fund is a fund that is very strong and very resilient, and going forward is going to be in business in the foreseeable future. Optional contributors. Let's talk also about optional contributors. Though the basic contribution increment has stopped, as I said, for the last 7 years, it has remained at 50 Ghana cedis. So what is happening in the optional front? And this optional table, this slide, is also telling us the confidence that members have in the fund. So if you look at it, 2019, in terms of the optional contribution that came in, the amount was 95.017 million Ghana cedis. No, this one we are talking about the members. Sorry, we are talking about the numbers. So the number of people who contributed was 95,017. Then 2020, we have 107,017 members contributed. Then 2021, we had 126,535 members were optional contributors. So year on year, the numbers are going up. Then 2022, the numbers were 143,874. Then November 2023, it was 163,249. These are the number of contributors, so quite significant. So our product, what product does the fund has? So currently the fund has these 4 products. We have the personal loan, we have the investment capital loan, we have the habitat loan, and we have the vehicle loan. The vehicle loan, I would say that the patronage is very low. Currently we have 1 person who is on the vehicle loan. So if we take the personal loan, it's designed to meet members' short-term financial needs, and the maximum amount that one can access is 35,000 Ghana cedis for 48 months or 4 years. And then to access this loan, one key thing is that one must have affordability. If you don't have affordability, it means that the door is closed. Then we also have the investment capital loan, which is specially designed to support businesses, the business idea of our members, or business idea of our members. And the maximum amount that the fund offers is 50,000 for a tenure of 60 months or 5 years. And then one requires to be an optional contributor of 150. For now, or come February 2024, in terms of the amount required is going to change. The monthly contribution required is going to change to 250 Ghana cedis. So when we get there, I will take members through the new requirements. Then we have the Habitat loan, which is also designed to help members to undertake housing projects. And the maximum amount one can access is 60,000 Ghana cedis for a period of 5 years. And then the vehicle loan is also designed to also finance purchase of vehicle of loan applicants. And the maximum amount is 70,000. So for the vehicle, the moment that you come to the fund and then you say you want to acquire a vehicle, then when the amount is provided, it means that the vehicle should have a joint name of yourself and then the fund. So that's the process or the procedure that is there, or the process one must go through. Then let's also look at our loan disbursement, the loans that we've disbursed in the past, how the fund has fared in this area. If we look at the number of loans disbursed, this one we are looking at the count in terms of the numbers. 2018 total number of applicants who benefited from loan from the fund was 52,768, and then 2019 it was 50,896. In 2020, the numbers were 46,903. It came down a little. Then 2021 it started to move up again. The numbers were 48,571. And then in 2022, total number of applicants who benefited from loans from the fund was 64,667. Then from January to November 2023, the number of applicants who benefited were 72,708 members. So because of this, if you look at the 2023 one, the numbers are high, and as a result, we had a lot of issues. The numbers went up, and then as a result, the amount that was also granted also went up. So in total, as of November, we've done about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis as new loans for the period. So there has been a surge in loan demands, and then if you look at the amount disbursed, 2018 we disbursed 475.72 million. 2019 we did 498.6 million. 2020 we did 562.66 million Ghana cedis. 2021 we did 638.68 million. 2022 we did 946.24 million Ghana cedis. Then 2023, like I mentioned earlier, 1.32 billion Ghana cedis. These are new loans that were disbursed during the period. Then let's also look at the fund value. It's also very important. That will also give members the assurance, the confidence to show that the fund is performing very well. And if you look at the growth in the fund value, it's coming from two fronts. It's coming from members' contributions and the surplus that the fund is generating over the year. So profitability and members' contribution, which is injection of capital. So 2019, the fund value was 1.527 billion Ghana cedis. 2020, 1.849.23 billion Ghana cedis. 2021, it was 2.235.51 billion Ghana cedis. Then 2022, 2.639.01 billion. And then 2023 September, the fund value is 3.99 billion Ghana cedis. So, which means that if you look at this trend, the fund has been growing in a positive manner. Here is the fund portfolio. You know, if you look at the portfolio, it's 3.99 billion Ghana cedis. And then if you look at in terms of, if you look at this bar chart, if you look at in terms of the loans and the other investments, the other investment is 703.04 million Ghana cedis, and then the loans is also 2.396 billion Ghana cedis. So the loans represent 77%, and if you look at the entire portfolio, which means that investments that the fund has made are with the members, and because of that, we need to also take the necessary steps to ensure that all the loans that have been given out, we are able to recover them. Currently, we have situations whereby when members take the loan, then they travel outside the country. So we are also putting mechanism in place to ensure that we prevent that, to enable the board and then the shareholders and management to preserve the fund for the members, because preservation of the fund is very key, because if you are not able to preserve the fund by adding value to it, as and when members come for their benefits and there's erosion, that wouldn't augur well. So always we need to add more. So we need to put in measures to ensure that those who take the money and run away, we reverse that. So at a point we know measures that has been put in place to ensure that such things do not occur. And also, one of the things that I also want to bring members to the speed is the fact that if you look at the portfolio, 3.099 billion, out of that 2.3 is with members, and then the 703 that we also have, part of this money is also with Controller Accountant General, but over 300 million is with Controller Accountant General's department. In fact, it takes time for Controller to now remit monies to the fund. So we have about 400 million thereabout also in the various investments, subsidiary, and then other money market instruments. Then the next area topic I also want us to look at is some recent development and challenges that the fund has been facing. And as we are all aware, last year at the beginning of the year, members experienced an increase of 30% in salary, and this also reflected in the affordability of members. So members had higher affordabilities, and then they came to apply for loans, and at which situation the fund was not able to also meet some of these requests on time, because we have turnaround times, which means that when an application comes within 5 days, if it's a normal loan, we should be able to dispatch it, and if it's a refinancing, 7 days. But at a point, these deadlines were extended to about 6 and 8 weeks. So we accept that these were a challenge, and the result was as a result of the government increasing salary by 30%. We are not saying that increasing of salary is not good; it's a good thing, but we must also plan that as and when salary increase, we also adjust contribution to also ensure that as and when members bring requests, we'll be able to meet their demand. And then also high interest rates of the banks and other financial institutions also exacerbate the issues for us, because we know members are rational, and as our interest rate remains at 16%, and currently if you go to the market it's between 33 and 42% at the banks. If you go to the other non-banks, you'll be getting it between 70 and then 80%. So members being rational also were coming to us, and then it's also fueled the demand. And then also liquidity challenges that the banks were also having as a result of the domestic debt exchange program that the government embarked upon, because we all knew what happened in 2023. Government at a point were having some challenges, so they decided to go to IMF. And then one of the conditionalities was the fact that government debt were at its highest level, and then as a result, some of the government's bonds that they have issued, they should be able to bring down the interest rate. So, and as a result, government came in to offer new bonds for the old bonds. So the offer that was made, if you look at bonds that were to mature in 2023, the government said, okay, fine, we are going to reduce the interest rate to 5%, and then after 2024, they will pay 10% to the time that those bonds will mature. And these bonds were also to be redeemed, or the redemption were to start from 2027 to 2023. Bonds that were to have matured after 2024, It's also had the same 5% and 10% after 2024. But in terms of the repayment period, it were to start from 2027 to 2037. So if you look at the term that government is going to take to redeem, it's spanning between a period of 10 to 15 years, and because of that, this impacted heavily on the banks, and these banks were not in a position to also grant loan to customers where our members were part. So members also decided to direct their traffic to the fund, and the fund also were not able to meet the high demand that were coming. So if you look at in terms of the loans that we disbursed in 2023, in terms of up to quarter 3, and then if you also compare in quarter 3 budget and you also compare to end of year budget, how does that depict? So for example, if you look at the disbursement that we've done up to November, actual disbursement, we had disbursed about 1.221 billion Ghana cedis. And if you look at the budget for the entire year, it was 844.5 million Ghana cedis. So if you compare to the actual disbursement, that the full year budget, we had done over 145% of that. If you also compare same to the third quarter budget, which is 642 million, we've also done 190% of the budget in terms of if you compare the actual to the budget. Then, as I mentioned earlier, delays in remittance of funds from Controller Accountant General, by the end of November, you realize that we had 3 months deductions outstanding. That's both loans and then members' contribution. And if you put the amount together, it's about 322.88 million Ghana cedis. So September, the amount that we were expecting was 105.99 million Ghana cedis, and then October 107.73 million Ghana cedis, and then November 109.16 million Ghana cedis. But for the fund, anytime I look at figures relating to any aspect, be it loans, be it profit or whatever it is, always is in positive direction. So for example, if you look at deductions for September, you realize that for both loans and then for contributions, it was 105.99 million. Then it went up to 107. Then November, it went up again. So for the fund, it has always has had a positive results. Then the impact of this surge in the loans on the fund also led to some of certain decisions that the board took, because we had some liquidity challenges, so we have to disinvest some money market instruments that we had. So we disinvested during the period about 220 million money market instruments to support the loans. And then also the loans turnaround time, which was like I said earlier, within 5 days also, increased to about 6 weeks or more. And then we also had a lot of agitations from members, because members were expecting that we deliver on time, but we had some liquidity challenges, more demand coming on us, and then also Controller not remitting our money to us as expected. So way forward, what should we do going forward to ameliorate some of these challenges that we had? So what we are planning to do is to look at the membership contribution, the increment. So like I said earlier, Council has approved the basic contribution to 100 Ghana cedis. So this January, we are going to effect the deductions. So after the 7 years stagnation, the National Council of NAT, or the AGM, approved for an increase of the basic contribution from 50 to 100 Ghana cedis. And this is part of the measure to improve liquidity and enhance the retirement supplement of members. So if you also look at the current contribution of 50 Ghana cedis, if you multiply that by 12, it's 600, and 10 years 6,000. So let's assume that even if a member is to teach for 30 years, by the time you leave, it's 18,000. And we believe that now that the basic has been adjusted to 100 Ghana cedis, within the same period, members can be able to contribute to the fund for about 36,000 instead of 18,000 Ghana cedis. And then things that we also want to do to also improve the contribution drivers is also encourage members to continue to do the optional contributions. So what we are planning to do is that we'll be doing the optional contribution increment, on monthly basis, and then we send information to members to up their contribution to the levels that they believe that their pay slips can accommodate. So here we are going to talk about the new requirements which are going to be introduced. As we also know, this January we are also going to receive a salary increase of 23%, and that's also going to reflect in the affordabilities. So if we don't put certain measures in place, a time may come we will not be able to serve some members. So as a result, we've come up with new loan requirements going forward. So if you look at it in terms of the minimum contribution required, the minimum contribution period required to access a loan for existing members, that for members, if I'm saying that for members, if it's 6 months, and then for the current it has no change, and the 6 months still exists for the existing members. For members who exit the fund and then they want to come back, at least it's not ideal for somebody to also put his money there for someone, so for someone to also come and then also take it, because we've exited, we've taken your money and we are coming back. So now the condition is that if you exit and we are coming back, it means that we have to do a minimum of 12 months before you can be reinstated. Then contribution to loan ratio currently is at 10% for all members, but now we are moving it to 15% for new and existing members. Members will say that why is it that we are moving it to 15%? For example, if we are new entrants and we are joining the fund, and then previously you are supposed to do 50 Ghana cedis, okay, which means that to qualify for the 6 months, your total if you are doing the minimum, your total contribution will be 300. Now, if you are doing 100 Ghana cedis, in fact, within the 6 months you do 600 Ghana cedis. So, like, the change is not going to have any impact, but in a way, we should be able to also serve other members, and that's the reason why we are upping the contribution to loan ratio from 10 to 15%. If you are an exit member and you come back, for that one, your total contribution to loan ratio should be 20%. Then minimum contribution, minimum monthly contribution to access a loan. For personal loan, currently it's 1% of the loan amount, or the maximum threshold of 150. And then if you pick the investment capital to, it's either 1% of the loan amount or the maximum threshold for the contribution of 150. And then habitat is 1% of the loan amount, and then in terms of the maximum threshold for the monthly contribution of 150. Now, for the personal loan, the new one will be the same 1% or 200 Ghana cedis. So if we are assessing any amount more than 150 Ghana cedis, because previously, other than that, like, your contribution will be 150. Now you have to do 200 Ghana cedis. So any amount between 200 and then 20,000 and then 35,000, your contribution should be 200. Then when it comes to the investment capital loan, It's the lower of the 1% and then amount and then of the 250 Ghana cedis. But let's assume that you are applying for investment capital loan and the amount you are looking for is probably within the personal loan threshold. Then it means that your contribution should be limited to 200. So let's assume that you are taking 35,000, which is the maximum threshold for the personal loan. Then your total contribution, that's your contribution per month will be 200, not 250. So if you look down, saying that the ceiling for the personal loan applies, where amount is limited to the threshold, the personal loan threshold. So for Habitat, the minimum that's monthly contribution of that's the 1%, and then the maximum amount required is 300, and where the amount is within the threshold for the other loan products, the ceiling for these products applies. Then we also have qualifying criteria, and then that is in terms of the time intervals between loan applications. So we are saying that if you apply for a loan and then you are coming back to refinance the loan, or if you want to pay off and come for a new one, the current situation is that you have to stay away for 6 months. That's the cooling off period. And then the new one also says same. The cooling off period is 6 months. Then loan witness. Currently we have 2 loan witnesses for all loans. But going forward, the new condition or new criteria is that you're going forward, if the loan amount is less than or equal to 10,000, then you need one witness to do that for you. Then we have loan guarantors, and then these loan guarantors currently is if you look at the current situation up to the end of the year or before 1st of April, we are going to introduce these conditions from 1st of February. So prior to that, if you look at in terms of guarantors, we are not asking for guarantor, but from February we are going to introduce that. So if your loan amount is more than 100,000, then you require a guarantor, and the guarantor, the number of guarantors required is 1. Then we have qualifications of a guarantor. A guarantor will have to be registered as an active member of the fund with a minimum contribution of 6 months. And then a guarantor can only guarantee for a maximum of 2 qualified loan applicants at a time. So you can only guarantee for 2 people at a time. And then a guarantor will be required to add a copy of his card, that is the Ghana card, front and back, to aid in the verification of the authenticity of the guarantor. And then a guarantor remaining active service period. The guarantor's remaining active period must not be shorter than the period or tenor of the loan being requested by the loan applicant. So which means that if you are 56 years or 58 and somebody is applying for a loan of 5 years, which means that you cannot guarantee the loan. Then the next area we are going to look at is the digitalization projects. So the digitalization of the fund. The TF digitalization process is at the final phase of development and after the initial pilot test. And this is to be rolled out in 2024. So by the beginning of the second quarter, we are going to roll out the fund digitalization. And this is to enhance that's interaction and the relationship, that the members are going to have interaction and then the relationship with the fund. Then if you also look at the structure, I mean in terms of how it is going to be structured, we have the web portal, and then the web portal, if a member has a laptop, or if a member has a laptop or desktop, then you can log onto the portal and then transact on it. And then the back office staff, the fund staff will also be using the web portal. Then we are also going to introduce mobile app. The mobile app will also be compatible for mobile phones, because if you want to log onto with the web on the mobile app, you may not be able to see all the fields. So the mobile app will be more convenient for members who will be using smartphones. Then you will also be using USSD platform, and the access to this platform will be star 888 hash. So that's what we are going to use to access our digitalized platform. So on these notes, I want to end my presentation and want to take this opportunity to wish all members a happy new year. And then we are also going to have questions and answer session, whereby if members have any question, like it was mentioned earlier, you just follow the steps and then put in your questions, and then answers will be provided. So thank you all for your presence and listening. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Foster Boabegin, for your very, very elaborate presentation. We have received a variety of questions from YouTube and Facebook. I think that you will respond to them quickly. I will share with you a couple of them, and after responding to that cluster of questions, we'll move on to the other. The first question came from one Mr. Kingsley Ansa. He sent the question to us through YouTube, and he wants to find out how he can calculate his lump sum when he goes on retirement. Question number 2 came from Mr. Edu Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel Konedu. He shared this question on YouTube, and the question says, how can I check my contributions online? Question number 3. Please, can we withdraw part of our fund contributions while still working? I think the implication is that are they allowed to do partial withdrawal? The usually simple expression that we have for this situation. And this question came from.
Can we take the question one by one?
Okay.
So that, so let's address the first question. The questioner said, how can he calculate his
lump sum at retirement? Yes.
Lump sum retirement. So, Teachers Fund at every particular point in time provides statement to members. So, if you even launch onto the star 888 hash, if you go there, you can check your contribution at hand. And then also, if you want to request for your statement, you can also do same. And when you get your statement, you see your yearly contribution on it. And then in terms of the fund value at any particular point in time, the period you assess it, that will also be provided. And then your return will also be indicated, your return for the period. So I will also entreat members that every year they should try and then go to these areas, the sites, and then populate their statement or request for their statement. The new digital platform that we are bringing up, when it comes to school, members at any particular point in time can go there and access their statement. And like I said earlier, you can see your statement based on year. Every year, your contributions, you can see them. And then the return that has accumulated to date, you also see them. So you can compare them every year, and then you compare. So this is a way that the fund communicates to members for them to know their statement as to the basic contribution that they've made, and then the optional, if you are optional, everything to be put together and then return as well.
Please, the second question I wanted to find out how he can check his contributions online.
And like I said earlier, if you want to check currently, you just launch onto our USSD platform, which is star 888 hash. And if you go there, you can see your total contribution. But if you want to know get your statement, a field will be provided for you to fill in your email address, and then you mail your information to you. Or you can also contact the fund office, the customer service center. They can also make available your statement to you.
Please, Madam Afisata Salia wants to find out whether members are allowed to do what we usually refer to as partial withdrawal.
Partial withdrawal is something that we shouldn't talk about, because if it's something that if you encourage, it will collapse the fund. Why am I saying this? Because it's the money that we all put in that we come in to also access in every particular point in time. And like I depicted to you the whole fund portfolio, you realize that it's around 3 billion. And even if you look at it, a bigger chunk is with the members. So if we allow members to withdraw their money, it means that at the end of the day, there will be nothing in there. And I also want to say that the reason why most of the credit union collapsed was the fact that people were doing partial withdrawal, and if you go there, there will be no funds. And as a result, members decided not to patronize these credit unions, and it has led to most of them collapse. So I will entreat members to keep their money, because this one you are saving for the future. So when you retire, you come and then take your money. If you allow people to take their money, to come in to take part of their money, if you are not careful, the time will come, the fund will not be moving up as expected.
Please, sir, on Facebook, one Mr. Kweku Asari wants to find out why members are experiencing delays in the release of their loan checks, and he's claiming that this situation is very worrying. So
the reason were explained. Like I said earlier, that if you look at what happened in 2023, members experienced 30% rise in salaries, and that also led to increase in members' affordability. So if you look at them in terms of the count of members who have actually benefited from loans from the fund, it's in the range of over 70,000, and then in amount we've also given out about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. These are new loans for 2023 as of November. And even if you take the entire loan portfolio that I mentioned earlier, it was 2.3 billion. So 2023 alone, members accessed 1.2 billion, and look at the numbers in terms of count. So at a point, since we were also now getting funds from contractors expected, because government was also having challenges in meeting its obligations, we were also not be able to also process the loan and pay on time. At times we process it all right, but we may not have money to pay, and that's the reason why we are saying that we also need to look at the basic contribution. That's the reason why from January we are going to witness a basic contribution of 100 Ghana cedis. So with this going forward, we believe that we'll be able to ameliorate any challenge that may come. Though we are also going to witness a 20% rise, but we believe that we'll be able to overcome the long period that it takes us in processing the loans.
Okay, sir. Someone who is currently paying for a personal loan, and the person is interested in a habitat loan, how long would that take that person to receive a response to his habitat loan application?
So if you're a member and you have a personal loan, it shouldn't take long. If you want to refinance, and like I said earlier, if you look at the new requirements, the cooling off period is 6 months. So if you have affordability, then what we need to do is to put in your application, and when the application comes, what you are going to do is to pay off the personal loan and then give you habitat. So it shouldn't take long. And we are going forward. We are going to do our possible best to ensure that we stay within our turnaround time.
Thank you, sir. We on Facebook and on YouTube, we received some comments from some members. One person indicated that he's watching us live from Konongo Odumase. Another person has indicated that he's watching us live from Boston in the United States of America. That is Mr. Ivan Sose. Now, sir, someone, he's called Imbebe Mark. He shared his question on Facebook. He wants to find out whether Teachers Fund can help members to pay off their loans with other financial institutions?
Yes. So if you look at in terms of the one of the main, the mission of the fund, then the mission of the fund is, if you look at it, or the vision is a solidarity fund, and aim to ameliorate the hardship of members. So why should members go and borrow from other financial institutions, where when they come to the fund they can get loan at a concession rate? I would say that if you look at the rate we offer, this one is not comparable to the bank. So if you have a loan with a bank and then you want the fund to pay off, yes, no, you go and settle the bank, and then you come and then take the money from the fund. So it's done.
Mr. Edward Nyankson wants to find out whether the reason why we are currently introducing the new loan requirements, he's suggesting that they are a bit unexpected and sudden. So he wants an explanation for that.
So the main reason why we are introducing new requirements is the fact that we want to serve every member and we want to share the pie evenly, so that every member can also enjoy it, and then also to improve our turnaround time, so that it will not take long for members to access loans. So that is the reason why we are coming up with new loan requirements or criteria to be able to serve everybody. So the rationale is to serve everybody and also to minimize the longevity in the turnaround time.
But you mentioned that our processes are to some extent digitalized as at now. Mr. Charles Kwabena Jemfi wanted to find out how one can increase his contribution using any of our digitalized platforms, digital platforms.
Currently, the digital platform that we have that a member can use in increasing his or her contribution is to use the USSD platform. So if you go there, you actually dial the *8# and then you follow the steps, and then you can increase your contribution. Come 1st April 2024, we are going to also introduce the other digital platform, the mobile app, the web as well. So members can also use that medium to improve their contributions.
Madame Teresa Amponsa is listening, and she mentioned that she heard you say that with effect from January this year, we are going to increase our basic contributions from 50 Ghana cedis to 100 Ghana cedis, and she wants an explanation on this. For instance, if someone is currently contributing 200 Ghana cedis, does it imply that the person's contribution will automatically be increased to 250 Ghana cedis?
That is correct. So, meaning that previously the person was doing a basic contribution of 50 Ghana cedis.
No, the person is doing a contribution currently 200. Okay.
Yes. So currently, which means that the person is doing a basic contribution of 50 and an optional contribution of 150. So we are increasing the basic to 100. So if you add the person's optional contribution of 150 to the 100, then the contribution going forward will be 250.
Okay, there is a recommendation from Benjamin Polomadu on YouTube that we should reduce the interest rate to 10%. In fact, there are several other people who have shared this opinion. They are suggesting that because the fund is a solidarity fund and it caters to the needs of members, the fund should consider reducing the interest rate.
Thank you. If you look at every investment that one intends to do, one key thing is stability of the investment. Stability of the investment. Currently, if you look at the prevailing inflation rate, though inflation is coming down, it started from 54%, it's coming down 25% thereabout. It's still higher than the 16% that we are offering. And if you also look at the fund portfolio, I mentioned earlier that 77% are investment with members, 2.3 billion. So if you are saying that we should also look at the rate and bring it down to 10%, when members retire and they are going home, what will they take? There will be nothing. And if you are not careful, there will be even erosion in your even your contribution. And if you also look at the membership of the fund, if you look at members who are on loans, we currently have about 164,000 members on loans, and almost half of the members are not on loans. So some members deem their contribution to the fund as investment. So if you are saying that we should charge currently 10%, then and if you also look at the market, like T-bills, the 91-day, which is around 31% rate, 29-31%, then it means that such members may decide to also move their investment to such market. So teachers fund, we are watching. We are not saying that we are not going to reduce our interest rate. We are watching. As and when the macroeconomic indicators improves, we also consider the interest rate. But currently, if you are saying that we should bring the interest rate down, I don't think it's the right time to look at it. So well noted, as and when development improves, in terms of the macroeconomic indicators, then we also look at it and then, if possible, bring down the interest rate. But currently, it's not prudent. I would say that it's not prudent to look at the interest rate now.
So this issue, I think, is related to your comments regarding our initiatives for digitalization. The person wants to find out if there are plans by the fund to allow members to access loans within 24 hours. And this is coming from Idris to Zakaria on YouTube.
Yeah, so the dream is to deliver as quickly as possible. So within 24 hours, 72 hours. So that's what we are trying to position ourselves. So when the new digitalized platform comes to stream, then members can just launch on them and then apply the loan through the platform. And as when it hits our system, quickly we'll work on them and then also pay to the members. One reason why at times we also find it very difficult, for example, to pay through members' bank account is the fact that at the point of application, there are a lot of people involved. For example, the district secretary comes in, office assistant, and when it's posted. So at times we cannot vouch the account number being provided on the loan application form. So if you go to digitalized platform and the member is providing this information to us, maybe account details. So if we have it and then we are paying the person, you don't need to verify. Currently, if you want to pay a member through his bank account, we need to verify who that particular account details is coming from, whether he's the rightful person. So to avoid that, at times we prefer maybe paying through checks to members. But when the digitalized platform comes to stream, it will make life easier, and we believe that the turnaround time, the 24 hours, we should be able to deliver.
Mr. Richard Boating wants to find out whether his investment in the fund was included in the domestic debt exchange program, because you mentioned that during your presentation.
Yes, I mentioned DDEP. I mentioned that the impact on the banks actually brought a lot of demand on us, though the fund had some small amount. Because, for example, if you look at the fund portfolio, I mentioned is 3 billion. I just want to lay the fears of the member. If you look at the fund portfolio, I mentioned that it's 3.099 billion, and out of that, 2.3 billion are with members. And then I also mentioned that 322 million were with Controller Accountant General. And if we take our subsidiary, Tier Financial Services, if we take Tier Properties, and then if we take Credit More, these two companies, and let me even take Avianca, their investment is almost 400 million. So the remaining amount of the 703 million Ghana cedis, if we do the permutation, which is in the other investment, how much would the fund even have invested in bonds? So though we had some bond, but it was something negligible and could not have impact on the fund.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ayenso Prince has indicated in his question that for the stated capital for establishing a bank in Ghana hovers around 400 million. So he thinks that the fund, looking at its financial resources, should consider establishing a bank.
Thank you, Mr. Akwa. Yes, this bank issue was part of the fund strategy between 2021 and 2023. That's the strategic plan of the fund. But at a point, we did a lot of review and realized that time weren't right for the fund to go into banking. If we look at what the bank is now going through, they are going through difficult times. Banks which actually invested heavily in bonds, like I said earlier, if your bond is to mature in 2023, even if you are to receive payment, it will be between 2027 2033, and if it's after 2024, it's going to mature between 2027 and then 2037. And apart from even the local bond, there was this cocoa bills that some banks also found themselves into, cocoa bills, which was issued by cocoa bond. Then we had local denominated bonds in dollars, so local dollar denominated bond, and that one too, there has been a haircut on them. Then the next phase that the banks are going to face is the euro bond, which negotiations are still ongoing, and then they have also not arrived at any conclusion as we speak. At a point, government proposed a haircut of 40%, but the multilateral and then the investors are also saying that the haircut, that if you look at the multilateral, they are talking about a haircut of 25%. So if maybe the fund had gone into a bank within this period, we were also going to experience all these difficulties. So we look at the environment, and then definitely our next plan, which is between 2024 2026, is also going to capture a bank. And if we do a review and realize that the time is right for the fund to go into banking, we will do so at the appropriate time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stephen Anochi, a teacher, sent his question to us through YouTube, and he wants to find out whether the fund has plans to introduce a loan exclusively for the construction of houses by members.
Okay. So, a good question. So for now, the board has also introduced a new product, and that product we are still at its conception stage. The board wants to introduce housing whereby to take members between 15 to 20 years. We are also talking to some developers to bring them to stream, and then going forward to, if we actualize this dream, what we are going to do is to also engage our members at the various regions and then districts, so that even they can also come up with local contractors, so that we can partner them to develop houses for members. The prices that we are looking at will be within the range of 200,000 to about 350,000 Ghana cedis for members, and that's what we realized, that in terms of the salary that were being paid last year, members can accommodate. Now that salary has also been increased by 23%, we look at the simulation once again and see whether we can increase the threshold. So it's something that we want to bring on stream to provide housing for members.
Mr. Emmanuel Dapa wants to find out how long it takes a member to receive his exit package after he goes on retirement, when he goes on retirement. So for the exit package, if we go on retirement, going forward, and currently, let me say currently, and then going forward, I will explain. If your application gets into the fund, within 3 days, we should finish on it. So maximum of about 2 weeks, the exit should be ready for you to get your money. But going forward, what we are going to do is that we are going to provide another digitalized platform whereby members can go there and then also fill the forms there, especially the retiree. If you are not a retiree, you can't have access. But if you are a retiree, you go there and then you fill the form, and then when it comes, within the short possible time, you'll be paid. We received a question from Sally Coleman on YouTube. He wanted to get an explanation from you in relation to why Controller and Accountant General's Department usually holds on to the deductions that they make from their salaries as their monthly contributions, and also the deductions that they make from their salaries as their monthly installment payments to the fund.
So if you look at the process that the fund goes through in getting deductions for loans and contributions, is through the check-off system, and it's done by the Controller Accountant General Department. And in 2023, we all witnessed the difficulties that the government went through. Government revenues were at the lowest level, and as a result, government were not able to meet its obligations as and when it fell due. But one thing is that if salaries are due and it's not paid, I mean, then the government, if they are not careful, they will be overthrown. Let's put it that way. So they will also look at in terms of their pay, in terms of the payment they are supposed to do. Which one is of high priority? So salaries is of high priority. Though if that member hadn't asked teachers fund to deduct maybe his contribution or having taken loan, and then deduction should be done, like government will pay full salary, but they also see it to be an avenue, a window, and they will pay the net to the teacher, and the rest is another thing. So we have to impress on them before this amount can. So if you look at some of these obligations that Controller is supposed to make, for example, the tier 1 and the tier 2, as we speak, they are in arrest for more than 8 months, and these are some of the challenges. Government has low revenue, and they are not able to meet their obligations.
Thank you very much, sir. Per the new requirements that is being introduced by the fund from February, those who apply for loans for loans above 10,000 Ghana cedis would have to provide guarantors. Mr. Francis Appiah wants to find out what happens to a guarantor. What happens to a loan applicant when the guarantor dies?
Okay. If a guarantor dies, and
no, if I guarantee a loan for someone and the person who has taken the loan, when he dies, what happens to the guarantor?
For teachers fund, we have self-insurance. So if you take a loan from the fund and presently you pass on, what happens is that your total benefits in terms of your contribution will be paid to you, and then we pay additional group solidarity of 500 to you. So if the person dies, you don't have any obligation. Your obligation is extinguished. So teachers fund will not follow you to come and pay anything to the fund.
Okay, sir. I think we will deal with the last question, and then we bring proceedings to an end. This question is coming from one Kenneth Batimius, and he shared the question on Facebook. I was a member from inception, but I lost my teaching job somewhere in year 2021. I'll be fighting through the courts for reinstatement. I therefore stopped contributing since I was off the payroll. Can I pay privately even till I retire? I am currently 54 years old.
Yes, so what he's supposed to do is to contact our office, and they'll make arrangement for him to continue to pay till he retires.
I think we can bring proceedings to an end at this time. We spent more than an hour on this exercise. Thank you very much, Mr. Wabeng, for the presentation. Thank you, audience, for participating and listening to us. For those who asked questions, we are very grateful. For the questions that we could not respond to, we would find a way of providing some information on them. I realized that there were some questions that should be responded to by NAT. They relate essentially to NAT dues, etc. I think that we will forward those questions to the NAT National Secretariat for response. On that note, we are grateful to our members for participating in this session. We hope to run another episode, probably in June or in July. Thank you very much.
Um, I'm financially sound, I must say. So it's like whatever I intend doing in life for now, because the shop is there to support me. And even when I even run short at the shop, I know mutual fund is also there to beef me up. So financially, I'm okay. So whatever I want to do in life, mutual fund has actually helped me, because you know the shop as we run, at least we also get some profits for it. We accrue our profits, and we are able to use that profit to expand our businesses. Yeah, so mutual fund has helped us. Even my family too, it has helped us. I'm a teacher, and I think that I needed to do something extra. Before, I was even selling kente clothes, but later I decided that when we even close from school, you don't have much to do. On vacations too, we actually don't have so much. We are not so much engaged. So if I open the shop, at least I'll be able to employ somebody. Yeah, I'm paying someone. That is also a help that I'm giving to society. And aside that, we are able to get some money from the shop that we are running. Yeah, we get extra money from the shop that we are running. So it's good. It's good that I've started this shop. I want to encourage every teacher, and most especially for us who are not members, that mutual fund is for us. This is what NAT has made available for us. And in fact, it's very attractive. What mutual fund is giving us is so much that we need not go anywhere for financial assistance. So, and even for those of us who have not started something, be it a building project or maybe running a shop or doing something extra to get extra income, it's about time we do something about our finances, because mutual fund is ready to give us any amount that we want. The only condition is for you to increase your contribution. If you are able to do that, mutual fund can even give you up to 50,000 to start something. And I think sometimes we say, oh, teachers are work. No, for now, Teachers Fund is there to support us. So whatever you want to do, whichever height you want to reach in life, with the help of mutual fund, we can get there. Because I'm an optional contributor, for now, I'm not worried going for big money from Teachers Fund. And because of that, there's no need for me to even seek for financial assistance elsewhere, because whatever I'm in need of, Teachers Fund is ready to give it to me, because I've increased my contribution. To say that we are grateful to Teachers Fund for the support that they are giving to we teachers who are not members. And had it not been mutual fund, it's like some of us maybe wouldn't have gotten something extra to do. And you know, these other financial services, sometimes when you even take a loan from them, the kind of stress and the difficulty that they send us through. But with mutual fund, the money is very flexible. It's not difficult to access the loan, and whatever amount that you need to expand your business to, they are ever ready to give to us. So we are grateful to them. I want to encourage our teachers too, that we should all embrace Teachers Fund for the support that they are giving to us. Thank you very much.